This is Jae Deal here with my friends from Guitar Center, and I'm here to talk with you about the AstroLab by Arturia. I'm a board member of Guitar Center Music Foundation, and we give instruments to educational programs and underserved communities and people who could use some more access. And in between doing that, I end up in the studio or on stage with some pretty innovative acts. So I'm super grateful. The AstroLab is an exciting instrument by Arturia. I actually use AnalogLab in all of my studio productions. So this just feels like a tactile experience to me of taking those sounds and being able to go anywhere in the world with it. I can go and edit a sound on my computer as I normally do and have that exact same sound, the feel, and all the parameters with modulation sources here at my fingertips. Not only that, there's also a mobile app, super convenient. It's like having a remote control for this keyboard over Wi-Fi. In addition, the feel, the key bed is super professional. I actually forget that it's there, which is good. So I feel free to express myself. This instrument is multitimbral as well. It's a 61 key keyboard. You're able to layer sounds. You can split sounds. And when you change from sound to sound, it will allow the last sound to completely sound out while you go to the next one, which is super important on stage. As soon as you turn on the keyboard, you have high fidelity sounds and an array of voices at your fingertips immediately. So let's check out how it sounds. Here, as you can see, there's an encoder here with the imagery of whatever sound that you're about to play. Let's try this grand piano. AstroLab uses the power we find in AnalogLab, and that includes physical modeling. With samples, we are kind of bound to the capture of the samples, if you will. But with physical modeling, what we're doing is using those zeros and ones in a digital way to capture how these sounds move airwaves, if you will, and the mechanics of the instrument. Every single phenomenon that could be described about an instrument can be modeled in the computer, and then it could be altered and programmed to your preference. That's definitely the way of the future. So, for example, physical modeling as it pertains to a piano here. Here I have macros that are labeled brightness, timbre, time, movement. As you can see below those names, there's a lighter gray nomenclature of volume, bass, mid, and treble. And that's because when you hit shift and turn the knob, you get the secondary function of these macros. So essentially you have 8 macros at your fingertips instantly. Not only that, for those of you who are more in-depth programmers, as we'll talk about later, you'll be able to assign these macros to any parameter that you want, which makes this a mega powerful feature of AstroLab. So check this out. All right, so I'm going to change the timbre here, and you'll see that it will age the piano to be a replica of something maybe 30 or 40 years older in real time. Now let's see what the movement does. Let's see what the brightness does. So you can see that Arturia has designated the strength of the hammer strike on this brightness knob macro here. So definitely a cool feature when it comes to expressive sound. Another powerful feature that I found is having the capability to stack sounds or layer sounds on top of each other. So one sound is amazing, two is three times as amazing. So it's just as easy as hitting shift, another part, and then you can layer. You see it turn green. You can choose from these voice banks and find a sound to stack on top of the first. Honestly, when it comes to keyboards, any real keyboardist, the very first few sounds they're going to check out is the piano sound, and then electric piano sound, and then the organs. But let's check out electric piano. I actually did use AnalogLab on a record that was #1 on Billboard last month. And I'm super excited to know that now I can carry it in a keyboard anywhere that I go. So this patch here is called the Butterfly Effect, which is a classic electric piano sound. Let's check it out. So this sound right here is a classic. You can't really go wrong. This is the meat and potatoes of a lot of hits. However, there are up to 17 different insertable effects that you could choose from. And these macros, they pretty much laid it out. Some of the go-tos automatically would be maybe like a chorus. And you can add some delay to that if you want to do a solo. And reverb. And can't forget about the classic 70s tremolo. When it comes to electric pianos, in my opinion, the main two components is that core sound and then the effects that come after the core sound. My favorites and a lot of people's go-to is the Fender Rhodes, the suitcase, and there's many different models of that, which are in AnalogLab. And so since they're in AnalogLab, they're in AstroLab. And you might also want to use like the classic 80s DX7 sound or some electric pianos that you find some samples in the emulator or Synclavia, etc. So all those are accessible here in AstroLab. Now, when it comes to synths, everybody knows, everybody uses AnalogLab, and AstroLab follows suit. All those wonderful retro synths and modern flavors and colors, you can find all of those in AstroLab as well. I love how I'm able to use the split function, and in my left hand, I could be playing a retro synth, and in my right hand, I could be playing a modern synth. Something similar to this. Check it out. In that split that I just played, I had in my left hand a Jupiter, powerful hybrid of analog and digital. So I'm hearing the attack and then the wideness, the width. So whether it's the chorus effect or some of the voices have been panned and detuned. And then modulation to give expressive articulations, if you will, of each passage. So just quickly, you can also look at some of these other classic mode, very deep, warm. And I can't forget about the modern sounds as well. I mean, where would we be without the 808? And that sound pretty much has transcended and found its way into almost every popular genre today. It's just not a hip hop thing or electronic music thing anymore. So I like this sound. Super expressive. And I look for legato mode, so I like to do slide. In the synth conversation, I have a special affinity for synthesizer bass because I'm a bass player as well, but played a lot of synth bass, a lot of funk stuff, George Clinton, Snoop Dogg, etc. So nothing beats the original equipment that's used for synthesizer bass. However, it's been modeled to a T in AnalogLab. So I just look for authenticity. Authenticity is everything when it comes to styles of music, especially when it comes to sound design. And that's what we have here. So we're seeing one instrument, but we're hearing over 30 instruments. And you might be thinking that's a lot to manage, but let me show you the mobile app and show you just how easy and convenient it actually is to make all this come together. See what we have here. I'm playing a Jupiter brass sound, and then all of a sudden, at the touch of a finger, I'm now playing a whole different patch. And visually, it's just so convenient. I mean, before I even choose a patch, I can see what instrument that I'm about to choose, and instantaneously, I'm there. In the AstroLab, sounds can be arranged and organized in a convenient fashion so you can see them all. And with one button on the AstroLab, you can go right to that sound. And this is essential for live performance because you don't have time to really scroll through things. What this app allows you to do is facilitate that process. Let's say I like this sound here. As a patch, sounds great. Now, when I'm playing live, I want to go conveniently between this patch and the piano sound, the touch of one button. So I would create a playlist for my gig tonight. So now that I created the playlist of gig, I go in here and I would put it in the first song in my playlist. Done. If I want to go back and forth between piano, I would just change this category to piano. I find the one that I like. See how quick that was? Add to gig, song 1, preset added. There it is. And then seamlessly, I look in here, I hit playlist. Go to gig. The 2 sounds are right there. This is a lifesaver if you're on tour and backline changes city to city. With one of these on the rig, all you need is a mobile device, and at a snap, your sounds are all uploaded into the AstroLab. Through Bluetooth, I'm able to pair my mobile device or another Bluetooth device, have the signal come in here, and that signal can go out of the outputs as well. So AnalogLab, as I mentioned, is one of my go-to favorites for a very long time when it comes to sound design. I used it on Janet Jackson's tour when I was a programmer on albums. And now those sounds could be transported in a flash right into AstroLab. So right now, we're listening to AnalogLab. I'm controlling AnalogLab from AstroLab as just a MIDI controller until we do this. I can link to AstroLab. So every instance of AnalogLab, I can link it to AstroLab. All right, so now these two are one, they're paired. This sound is great for what it is. But there's just a few minor things that fit my personal style that I want to do to this sound and then bring it back into the keyboard. So let's go here, edit preset. Look at that. I'm looking at a Jupiter all of a sudden. So I would want just a little bit more slidability, if you will. So I'm going to just tweak some of this portamento. And maybe just slightly faster vibrato when I go up here on the modulation wheel. And what else would I do? Maybe filter envelope. Then go here and save preset as. There you have it. I can also just go back here and drop this into my gig. So already it's clear to see, I mean, this in the studio or your home setup when it comes to recording, seamless. What does this look like in a live application or when you need to be a part of an ensemble or you go to another studio, another setting, and they need to get sounds out of here? You're going to have your headphones, of course, left and right output. I can't believe it took me this long to mention the vocoder in here. There's an input for vocoder left and right, and expression pedal, damper pedal. And the thing that I love about it is we got old school MIDI, new school USB as well. Not to mention through Wi-Fi, you have connectivity to your mobile device or to your desktop, transferring sounds and for connectivity. I think this is a perfect setup. This is like 30 instruments in one piece. So live would color the sound, fill the room, no matter what venue I'm playing in. This allows me to bring the power of software synthesis and physical modeling into something that's safe and sturdy. And that is a main feature of AstroLab that I'm excited about. If you're interested in learning more about Arturia AstroLab, go to guitarcenter.com or call one of their expert gear advisors, or you can check it out at your local Guitar Center.